Dear students, so let's see the revision lecture for subject BDA Big Data Analytics. So let's first see the algorithm called as DGIM algorithm. Okay. Now this DGIM algorithm we already seen our regular lecture. The most important part of this DGM algorithm, the first one is a timestamp. So timestamp at which points the stream of data is coming. That stream of data consisting of zeros and ones. And the second one is the bucket where we store those zeros and ones. But the problem of this, the number of ones in the bucket, this number must be the power of 2. Okay, that means 2 raised to 0, 2 raised to 1, 2 raised to 2, and like that. Then what rules we need to follow in DGIM algorithm? The first one is whenever we store any data stream in the bucket, the right bit must be 1. If it is 0, then you shift that bucket towards left hand side. Okay, but the last bit of that bucket must be 1. Every position with a 1 is in some bucket. That means bucket में आप लोगों का सिर्फ 0 नहीं होना चाहिए. It must contain 1. Okay, so 0 is insignificant in DGIM algorithm. No position is in more than one bucket. For example, if 1, okay, if data 1 I stored in some bucket, then that 1 you should not store in other buckets also. That means आप लोगों का bucket जो है वो overlap नहीं होना चाहिए. For example, suppose this is the bucket 1 0 1 1, that means 4 ones are there. That means 2 raised to 2, that means 4 ones are there. And later on, if suppose this 1 0 1 1 and 1, okay, now I cannot create bucket like this. That means this 1 is already considered in earlier bucket. I cannot store this 1 in another bucket. That means bucket आप लोगों का overlapping नहीं होना चाहिए. And the all sizes must be power of 2. Bucket cannot decrease in size as we move towards left hand side. That means your bucket size always in increasing order from right to left, like 1 2 4 8 16. Even equal size bucket also possible. For example 4, then another bucket I can write as 4. That means 4 4, these are same. But after this 8, if I want to create, let us take bucket size is 4, but after 8 bucket size 4 is not allowed, because either equal or the bucket size must be in increasing order. Okay, so that these rules you need to be consider while forming the buckets in DGIM algorithm. So this is the example. As you can see, this bit is 0, so you cannot consider this 0 to store into the bucket. So 1, then I can consider this as a 1. That means this is 2 raised to 0, this is 2 raised to 0. That means bucket size 1 1 is possible. Okay, so 2 of size 1. Then you can consider here this 0 can be ignored here, because the right side of the bucket must be 1. So right side of bucket is 1 1 0 1 1. So 2 ones are there. Here 4 ones are there. Again this is 4 ones are there. That means bucket size 2, bucket size 4. Then there may be the bucket size maybe 8 हो सकता है. Even what you can do here, ये दो bucket को join करके आप लोग 8 size of bucket भी बना सकते हो. That means after 2, size of bucket can be 8 also. But after 8, there should not be a bucket of size 4. And also I cannot form a bucket like this. That means these two ones are already considered. So these two ones I cannot store in next bucket. Okay, so overlapping of bucket should be avoided here. So this is nothing but the overview of this DGIM algorithm. Now let us see the next revision on this QR algorithm. As the name implies, this is nothing but the clustering algorithm, and the most important thing is clustering. We can consider as a mean value, median value, or we can consider the centroid. For example, if these are the points and I want to form the cluster, okay, these are the points, and if I want to form the cluster, so what we'll do, we take the mean of these samples, and mean लेने के बाद इनका threshold लेके, and within the threshold अगर जितना points आता है तो उसका हम लोग क्या करते हैं, एक cluster बनाते हैं. So this is the second cluster. So either we consider the mean value or we can consider the centroid. Centroid is nothing but the, let us say this is the centroid value, and from this centroid we find out the distance of other points. I think you already studied in this data mining, that is a k neighbors algorithm like that. But in QR algorithm, uh, the shape of this cluster, now generally we see the shape of the cluster is always the circular, but QR algorithm is designed to handle any odd shaped clusters. Okay, and it doesn't consider any mean or centroid or any mode value. It consider the cluster totally based on the representative points. Okay, and whenever we feel that we need to consider the points, and now I want to form the cluster, but that points are just above that particular odd shaped clusters. So what we'll do, we will move those shape by 20%. So 20% is a good fraction to create the clusters. So let's see the example. So these are the two clusters, one surrounding the other, and as you can see here, these are the representative points. This is the first cluster, this is the second cluster, but as you can see the points are lies on the boundary. So as the title suggests, that 20% is a good fraction. So what we can do, we include these clusters by moving these points by 20%, so that this is the cluster that I can form here. Okay, so 20% you just remember, and the QR algorithm is used for the odd shaped clusters. We cannot use the mean or any median or centroid approach here. We consider only the representative points, that's it. Next algorithm, let us take the FM algorithm. The example of this already we covered in our regular lecture. Whenever we apply any hash function h on the stream element, then it gives some number of zeros. Okay, it gives some number of zeros, and that count of number of zeros is called as tail length. Okay, and let us consider this r is nothing but the maximum tail length of any a in the string. Once we find this maximum value, that is a value of this r, we find out the 2 raised to r. We need to find out the estimate the value of 2 raised to r for the number of distinct elements seen in the stream. Okay, now let us take the example of this. So this is the stream of data, and this is the hash function x plus 6 mod 32. And now since this is the mod 32, that means maximum remainder maybe the 31. Okay, so maximum remainder is 31, that means we require the 5 bits. So what we will do, whenever we apply any hash function, we need to consider the 5 bits, because the mod value is the 32 here. Just substitute these stream of data 4 to 5 to this hash function, find out the remainder of this. 10 mod 32 is 10, 8 mod 32 is 8, and so on, and convert these numbers in binary. And after converting these numbers into binary, find out the trailing zeros. For example, in this trailing zero is 1, in this 2 there is nothing, 0, यहाँ पे भी क्या है, 0 है, this is 0, this is 1, this is 0, and this is 0. And from this this is 3, extremely sorry. So 3 be the maximum value of trailing 0. This is nothing but the value of r, and then the output of this is nothing but the 2 raised to r, that is 2 raised to 3, which is nothing but the 8. So this is just a brief overview of this algorithm. Next, let us take the data stream model. So before this data stream model, one point I think misses there. Just wait. So as you can see, this DGM algorithm, if there is a question, if I want to find out the number of ones present in this data stream, so how I find out the number of ones in the data stream? So as we know, the bucket always contains the number of ones which are the power of 2. Okay, so in this, this is 2 raised to 0. That means 1, 1. This is a 1 of size of 2. This is 2, 4. This is 4. So the number of ones I can easily calculate by looking at the bucket size. But the problem is number of zeros. So in DGM algorithm, number of zero are insignificant, right? Even if the zero arrives, we ignore those zero because focus is on totally on number of ones. Yes, we can count the number of zeros, but the error, maximum error will be there, because exact number of 0 we cannot count in DGM algorithm, but the exact number of 1 we can easily calculate in this algorithm. Now the Bloom filter. So this topic also we covered in our regular lecture. So initially this Bloom filter contains all these zeros. Then there are various hash functions are there, h1 to hk, and each hash function map the key value to n number of buckets, and there is a set s of m key values. But what is the purpose of the Bloom filter? So Bloom filter, as the name implies, it filter out. That means it removes or it accept. Okay, so what it accept and what it reject. The purpose of the Bloom filter is to allow through all the stream elements whose keys are present in S. If the keys are present in S, then it allow through. लेकिन वो reject क्या करेगा if the keys are not in S? Okay, so if a key value is present in S, then the element will surely pass through the Bloom filter. But however, if the key value is not present in S, तो यहाँ पे मैंने क्या देखा था, it rejecting most of what is the word is most of the stream element. Most of the stream elements means it doesn't all the stream elements. Okay, so maybe the key value, if it is not present in set S, it might still pass. Okay, if it is present, then it surely pass. If it is not present, then it still pass. इसका मतलब क्या होता है, it doesn't always gives the correct result. Okay, अगर होगा तो definitely it pass through, अगर नहीं होगा then also it pass through. That means it doesn't gives the correct result. Okay, then now once the any element is processed, okay, then it is not possible to delete the element from the Bloom filter. एक बार वो element आपके filter में आ गया, then it is not possible to delete the element. And also once the hash functions are decided, okay, once the hash functions are decided, we cannot change those hash function. Okay, it is not possible to alter those hash functions to create the more space. Okay, and this Bloom filter, so whenever earlier element is added, it always returns a true value. Okay, so this filter returns a true value whenever we test for the earlier added element. So this is just a brief gist of a Bloom filter. So you just remember these points. Now next we will see the data stream model. So as you can see, this is the input, that means the stream is entering, and this is the output. As you can see, the stream means what? It's a continuous flow of data. So as you can see, this is number, this is character, this is number. Okay, maybe there is a image data, audio data, video data. Okay, तो stream means what? It's a continuous flow of data, और वो data इतना fast आता है, that means the velocity of this data is very high, and we need some mechanism to handle this fast data. Okay, so there are these two types of query that we will see. So this is a stream processor, that means the processing capability, processing power must be high. So let's see each one, this one by one. So stream means what? It's a continuous flow of data, means it's the large data, big data. So requires more amount of memory to store. That means this data cannot be stored on just hard disk, because hard disk का size तो बहुत छोटा होता है ना. So we require some another mechanism having some more amount of memory space for the storage of such data. So such data arrives at very high speed, and there should be some mechanism to handle that data. It requires more processing time and more processing power. CPU से नहीं होता है, we require the GPU, we require TPU. Okay, and we already see there are two types of data in regular lectures: structured data, unstructured data. स्ट्रक्चर्ड डेटा इट्स अ टेक्स्ट डेटा, टेबल डेटा, जिसका मतलब एक स्टैंडर्ड फॉर्मेट होना चाहिए. अनस्ट्रक्चर्ड डेटा इट्स अ इमेज, ऑडियो, वीडियो, जिसका कोई स्ट्रक्चर ना हो. एंड योर स्ट्रीम not contains only the structured data or only the unstructured data. It's a combination of these structured and unstructured data. तो stream में कौन सा भी टाइप का डेटा हो सकता है. Okay. Now there are two types of queries. We already saw in this earlier diagram: standing query and the ad hoc query. Ad hoc query का मतलब क्या होता है? It's a टेम्पररी क्वेरी. इसका ad hoc का मतलब क्या होता है? टेम्पररी. देखो, कोई एम्प्लॉय कंपनी में ज्वाइन होता है तो बोलता है कि आई एम ऑन ad hoc बेसिस, कॉन्ट्रैक्ट बेसिस. मींस वो जॉब क्या होता है? उसका टेम्पररी होता है. स्टैंडिंग क्वेरीज, द नेम इटसेल्फ सजेस्ट परमानेंटली. तो ad hoc query क्या होता है? It is only for the time being. And the standing query, it is permanently executing and produce the output at appropriate time. Okay, and each time whenever new reading arrives, it produces the average of the 24 most recent reading. मतलब जो भी 24 आपका मोस्ट रिसेंट आएगा उसका क्या रिटर्न करेगा? एवरेज वो रिटर्न करेगा. Okay, and that query also can be answered easily if we store the 24 most recent stream elements. But what about ad hoc queries? So ad hoc queries में, now stream query में क्या होता है? We need to store the 24 most recent. Ad hoc query is a temporary query. It uses the sliding window. I think you studied this in computer network, sliding window protocol. तो sliding window क्या होता है कि एक अगर आपका न्यू डेटा आता है तो sliding window क्या होता है? शिफ्ट हो जाता है, स्लाइड हो जाता है टू टेक दैट पर्टिकुलर डेटा. So ad hoc query is a common approach is to store the stream of data in a sliding window and then apply the process. That's it. So these are nothing but the two types of queries: standing query and the ad hoc query. Now the SON algorithm, Sabassir, Omninsky, and the Nawate algorithm. Okay, so this is called as a SON algorithm. So what is the basic idea of this SON algorithm? To divide the input file into chunks. Chunks means it's a part of the input file. तो input file अगर आप लोगों का 100 MB का रहेगा तो मे बी मैं क्या कर सकता हूँ? उसको 10 chunks में डिवाइड कर सकता हूँ. Having हर एक का साइज 10 MB या 9 MB, 20 MB like that. Okay, तो chunk का साइज में भी डिफर हो सकता है. So treat each chunk as a sample. मतलब एक पार्ट हम लोग लेंगे, it's a sample, and run the algorithm on that particular chunk. एक बार आप लोगों का चंक प्रोसेस हो गया तो व्हाट विल डू? टेक द यूनियन ऑफ ऑल द आइटम सेट दैट हैव बीन फाउंड फ्रीक्वेंट. फ्रीक्वेंट का मतलब क्या होता है? ऐसा डेटा जो आपका बार बार आ रहा है, that occurs quite frequently. So we take the union of all the item set that have been found frequent, store on disk all the frequent item set found in each chunk. तो चंक में जो भी फ्रीक्वेंट आइटम सेट फाइंड आउट किया है उसको डिस्क के ऊपर स्टोर करो. And there are various categories of results. I think many of you are doing or did ML related or deep learning related algorithms, and there you find out the categories of results, that is a true positive, false positive, true negative, and false negative. So I request you to go through those various categories, what exactly the meaning of this. Okay, so true positive, false positive, true negative, and false negative. And the most important thing of this SON algorithm, that this algorithm gives no false negative. तो no false negative का मतलब क्या होता है कि if your item set is not frequent, then it doesn't gives कि it's a frequent. Okay, मतलब अगर आपका डेटा अगर निगेटिव है तो बोलेगा नहीं कि हाँ चलो ये फ्रीक्वेंट आइटम सेट है. इट ऑल्सो गिव्स द आंसर इज ऑल्सो फॉल्स. Okay, so this algorithm gives no false negative. So I request you to find out the exact meaning of these four categories. That is up to you. Next we will see the sampling. So as the name implies, sampling means what? सेम एज हम लोग क्या पहले क्या करते किया था, चंक चंक मींस जो भी एंटायर फाइल था वो फाइल को हम लोग क्या करते थे, पार्ट्स में डिवाइड करते थे. तो सैम्पलिंग इज सेम थिंग. अगर आप लोगों का पूरा अगर एक डेटा स्ट्रीम रहेगा तो डेटा स्ट्रीम को हम लोग क्या कर सकते हैं, सैंपल्स में डिवाइड कर सकते हैं. ओके, सो वेरियस कैटेगरीज ऑफ सैम्पलिंग आर देयर. रिजर्वर सैम्पलिंग, bias reservoir sampling, concise sampling, and the random sampling. So reservoir sampling, it is a family of randomized algorithm for choosing a simple random sample without replacement of k items from the population of unknown size. Okay, so you just go through this all types of sampling. So reservoir sampling, it's a family of randomized algorithm to select the random samples. Now bias reservoir sampling, it gives the higher probability of selecting the data points from the most important thing is a recent part of the stream. Okay, recent part of the stream using weight function as compared to distant part. Okay, so we need to consider these recent parts and we need to consider this weight function. Okay, concise sampling. So concise sampling means what? It is a, first of all, it's a uniform sampling. Okay, and a value that appears once is stored as a singleton value. Okay, singleton means exact value. Okay, only one value. So only one value, इसलिए उसको बोलते हैं कि concise sampling. मतलब every value का एक particular क्या रहेगा, count रहेगा. Okay, it's a singleton value and उसका particular count कि how many times that particular value arrives. Random sampling, each sample has equal probability of being selected. A sample chosen randomly is meant to be unbiased representation of the total population. Okay, equal probability का मीनिंग क्या होता है? It's an unbiased representation. For example, head and tail. So head and tail आने का चांस कितना है? 50-50%. It's an equal probability and this is not a biased thing कि 100% में बोल सकता हूँ कि मेरा head ही आएगा. Not possible. Okay, so this is nothing but the random sampling, and this random sampling you already studied in your maths subject. Okay, now the next topic is the association rule. Association rule, as the name itself suggests, the how frequently an item set occurs in a transaction, and various definitions are there in for formulating this association rule. Support count, that means the frequency of occurrence of item set. That means that particular item set occurs how many times, that is a support count. Frequent item set, that means the item set whose support is greater than or equal to the minimum threshold, minimum support threshold. So minimum support threshold से अगर, let us take my minimum threshold is 5 and if your this particular item set अगर occurs 6 times, that means वो क्या हो रहा है, उससे ज्यादा आ रहा है. So that particular item set, I can say that this is the frequent item set. Now the association rule, that is nothing but it's the implication expression of the form of x arrow y. That means x represents y, x associated with y, where x and y, these are nothing but the two item set. Now support S, it is a measure of how frequently the collection of items occur together as a percentage of all transactions. Means आपका पूरा transaction हो गया and पूरे transaction में कितना percent that particular item आता है. Okay, that is called as a support. Confidence, it is a ratio of the number of transactions that includes all items in B. Okay, so this B is nothing but the set of items का रहेगा. So transaction that includes all the items in B as well as the number of transaction that includes all the items in A. See, the ratio of number of items present in B as well as number of transaction that includes all the items in A. 2, this is the numerator part. 2, that means this is a denominator part because it is nothing but the ratio to the number of transactions that includes all the items in A. So this is nothing but the, बोल सकते हैं हम लोग, A यूनियन बी, दैट मीन्स ए में कितना आइटम है, बी में कितना आइटम है, डिवाइड बाय ए में कितना आइटम है. तो दिस इज नथिंग बट द कॉन्फिडेंस. तो ये देखो एग्जैक्ट फॉर्मूला देखो. तो कॉन्फिडेंस ऑफ एक्स एरो वाई, कॉन्फिडेंस ऑफ एक्स एरो वाई मीन्स दिस इज नथिंग बट हम लोग ने ऊपर लिया है ए एंड दिस इज बी. तो सपोर्ट ऑफ एक्स यूनियन वाई, ये देखो ए यूनियन बी डिवाइड बाय सपोर्ट ऑफ एक्स करके. Okay, so it measures how often each item in Y appears in transaction that contains item in X also. Okay, so this is nothing but this is the formula to find out the confidence and association of two items set. So this is from my side, my dear students. I hope you understood this, and if you have any doubt, you can contact me. Thank you very much.